Wow, you didn't think I would not be doing a video today, would you? I've gotten some more progress. Let me actually show you what it looks like without the pencil layer in there. I'll just remove the pencil layer first of all. And I feel like we're getting somewhere. It's a grim situation for good old Gallows. I just realized it looks like the blood's behind him when it should be in front of him, so we got to bring this sort of dripping blood area all the way down. Whoops. All the way down to the panel border. Yesterday I was looking at I think it's an issue of Iron Man. It's the first episode with Thanos in it. And so this is definitely Silver Age, not even Bronze Age. And I cannot tell you exactly which issue this is. I know it's got the Blood Brothers in it, so it might be an issue of Captain Marvel. I think I need to push this forward. It might be an issue of Captain Marvel, or it might be Iron Man. It might even be Marvel 2-in-1, because I think what happens with that particular saga, eventually this Thing gets involved. I think Thing ends up in the desert, wherever, you know. Can't remember all the details. All right. So we've got Gallows. He's lost his hat. He's been shot in the back. He's suffering. The zombies are getting ready to strike. Can you see that? I think you can. And somebody just posted this on, I think it was on Twitter, and they were saying, you know, something about family, because it has a scene where Thanos is kind of checking in with his relatives from Titan, his brother Star Fox, etc., is in there. But I was just struck by how simple the page was, and, you know, the figures and everything drawn on it. It's not far off from, you know, what we're trying to accomplish here with our comics in the Silver Age. I'm not saying that we're as good as they are. I'm just saying that, like, composition and everything's drawn from the imagination. There's no tracing. There's no hyper referenced anything, or anything referenced. Forget hyper reference. Nothing's really referenced. And the story works. I mean, it's so memorable they made movies out of it, including one of the biggest movies of all time, the whole Avengers Infinity War sequence comes from that comic. You know, it comes from that whole saga. I've got some weird stuff going on with the pencils here, so let's fix that. So, what does it matter a lot of times? You know, when we're looking at a lot of this art. Well, obviously, I think you should be attempting at least baseline proficiency. I don't think you can get away without knowing how to draw at all. But I don't think things have to be like the crazy level of going on with that. He's this guy. Okay. I'm doing some weird things with his hand. He's got to have his fingers extended because he wants to claw. I mean, he might be doing a slam or something. But yeah, I think you should have baseline proficiency and use, composition and storytelling. And at that point, the world's your oyster. It doesn't have to be, these amazing gridded out compositions. It's like we've learned all of the worst lessons of manga, and none of the good lessons. There's good lessons in manga, and we just ignore those. I think is too bad. If you want to learn the good lessons in manga, you can't be reading the modern manga. You have to go back. Forget Toriyama. Go to Tezuka. And then you'll understand. I'm still on, I think I'm on volume 4 or volume 5. I might have bought another volume, I can't recall. They go so quickly. They're 400 pages. But they go quickly. And this one, Yatala, who I've already said is kind of like, the Incredible Hulk, pretty much. He's a giant. And then Tata, the character that can possess animals. That's been in there since the very beginning. Have been forced into the situation where they have to duel. And acting as the manager for Tata is Devadatta, who is a bad guy. I think Devadatta is I don't know. I'm trying to remember where. I know he's got like this really kind of sick upbringing. That's uncool. A lot of the evil character, like, that really does reinforce the caste system here. These early, I would assume they're almost like Hindu stories. So Devadatta has got Tata, fighting Yatala, but Tata wants to, who's a pariah, by the way, wants to, that's his caste. He's an outcast. But because he's such a great warrior. All right, let me go back to the beginning. Devadatta is acting as manager for Tata. Tata is the character that can possess animals, but he's also a bandit and a great fighter and an interesting character. He's kind of like, I don't know. He's cool. He's going up against Yatala, who is in certain ways just this monstrous giant, but they have conversations, and Yatala and Tata kind of become friends, even though they're being forced to duel. Because the duel doesn't work out, Devadatta secretly has Yatala poisoned, except it doesn't work. It doesn't kill him. So everyone gets mad and is like, "We'll find out who poisoned the giant." So Devadatta pins it on the blind wife of Tata and use it as blackmail. So you have to fight him to the death now, otherwise we'll blame your wife, and then she'll be killed or whatever. It's just pretty gripping stuff. It's really great. All right. He's so hidden behind him. It's not so great. Okay, anyways. you can tell a lot of times when I'm doing my inking, the pencil line has it down here, and I'm looking at it and going, I'm going to make it over here. It could be that I'm going to change my mind later on. But for right now, it seems to work that way. Anyways, you have to look at these Tezuka comics, though, because they aren't drawn, with an extreme amount of realism, or in certain cases even, hyper proficiency. But then every once in a while you turn a page and you just get something just breathtaking. Now, a lot of these I assume are background shots that are done by assistants, or maybe they really are taken from photos. But wow, I saw one. It was just this huge tree for when they go back to the I think it's the forest of, it's where the Pipala tree that Buddha is sitting under, except he's not there for whatever reason. I gotta figure out how Buddha even plays into this current story. It's so weird. I'm wondering if the foot is too long. There it is. That foot was too long. How about this? What if I put the other foot down like this, like he's walking in from the other side? I think that works pretty well. If I pull the pencils off, I think the pose works okay. A pure illustration is always much more attractive than these sort of photographic illustrations. Oh, that came up too. I was watching some kind of a video. It was they had, and it's one of those art advice videos. Boy, Sven Yervin, when he says don't listen to the adults, he wasn't kidding around. So like they had set it up kind of like a Goofus and Gallant thing, and so like the dumb artist would say things like, I never use reference, and then the smart artist would say, I always use reference, or whatever it was. And you know what? Not using reference is a choice, and I think it's a valid choice, and I think it's if you know how to draw something, or you have a certain way of drawing something, and it fits in with the look of and it's convincing and it works, you don't have to use reference if you don't want to. I think that's okay. I think that it's important to use reference when you find yourself out of your depth, when you don't know what something looks like, when you are not creating something when it doesn't work. Like if you're trying to draw a horse and you're in perspective and you're like, the leg, I can't figure out how the leg bends. Then I think, by all means, go get a picture of a horse, doing the pose you want it to do, or just examine how the legs are working. And at that point, that's when you should use it. If it's part of the story that the character is using a Wild West style, revolver, which I have these characters using revolvers. Yeah, absolutely. Go look at a picture of a revolver, like a Colt 45 or something like, whatever the revolver of the day. I had the luck of being a guy that got to play Boot Hill back in the day. Y'all don't know what Boot Hill was. Boot Hill was like the Wild West role-playing game that's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, but with cowboys. So, you know, we knew about all that stuff. We got to know about all that stuff. It was part of our creative upbringing, and I feel bad for the kids these days with the hair and the clothes. The kids these days, they don't know about shit like that. I just don't think they do. What's the closest they got? Unforgiven or something, or Tombstone? I mean, there's certain movies probably. 410 to Yuma or whatever it's called, which by the way is a remake. 310 to Yuma. It's a very cool movie. I love westerns. I don't know what's going on with his hand. This is an example of something that's not working. All right, it's okay. We're gonna erase it now. If you don't know how a hand works, you could certainly look up how a hand would go. I unfortunately kind of know how it's supposed to work, and I'm just not able to do it. All right, let's just take the pencil lines out just so they don't throw us off anymore. I think we're just going to throw the thumb behind in this case. And I think it's fine. That works okay. I think no one will question that. All right. Problem over here is, what about the other hand? Okay, the other hand, I think I've got a good. So I think that I've got the wrist in the wrong place, but I've got a good. I've got a good shape going on. Is this? Are we on the pencil layer? Let's get onto the pencil layer. We just need to bring it back a little bit. If you get the shape of the hand right, where the wrist stops flexing and all that stuff, you're probably on the road to getting what you want out of the drawing. Other than that, I suppose I'll be like Goofus and say, I never use reference for my hands. Well, you got reference right here. I feel like my zombies in this piece are very Ditko-esque. And their figures. He's got like a shred of something hanging off of him. Yeah, he's looking good. I think those legs are a little bit bird-legged for what he is, but we can fix that up. Maybe take out some of that extra ankle. Oh, in this picture of Thanos that I was looking at, I think that's the reason it occurred to me. the proportions were wrong. The feet were huge, the hands were huge, the body was normal size, like a normal sized person. He wasn't much bigger than Iron Man, but he had giant feet, and giant hands, in these gloves. And I know this is a Jim Starlin thing that he's doing. It's like I've got this Titan, and there's a bit of Drax the Destroyer on there too, but it's one of the really earliest Drax the Destroyers, so you just see his face, and he's got this sort of Alice Cooper, eye makeup on, which I'm kind of emulating on my zombies and even on Gallows here. I think we gotta. I should not have done that squiggle. We're gonna move some. There we go. I've got to figure out what to do as far as the horizon line. With a worm's eye view like this, is we're above and we're looking down, because we can see past the heads. And with this, we're below and we're looking up. We could conceivably take this line and even go even higher with it. And as long as you make your lines, your line weight kind of thin, and your vegetation rolls are in scale, right, then it's going to look fairly believable. You can also do these kind of squiggles, skyline kind of texturing, and that actually works as well. Things to look out for are lost lines. For whatever reason, they just don't look good. Okay. And anything where a line, especially an outer like silhouette line, is crossing something, that never looks good. Okay. Okay, whoops. I'm messing with this blood pile right now because this is based on the sort of the Alphonse Dunn idea of the shadow is the texture is the shadow. So I've got to bring the grass texture into that. All right. Now what comes next? Hatching, right? Or feathering. I've heard this called both things. I'm sure somebody smarter than me knows the difference. I currently don't really know. Working on it though. part of me wants to move this guy further in towards the center so I can have a speech bubble coming from off to the side, which will still be this guy yelling. But I think I might just have his speech bubble here in this middle area right here. That's why I'm not too worried about what's going on in this kind of central area. Nothing much to worry about. Once again, I like how I got away with the hat. Alright, final panel. I'll cover in the next video. Why not take 3 days to do it, right? Gallows is going to appear. He appears recovered as he fights back. He's going to fight his way free. Now, he got shot in the back, and as we saw in the last page, he got shot pretty good. So this has to be painful. Like, this has to be done painfully. And then whatever battle scene that we pull out of this has to be done very painfully. Like, it has to be, we have to show a lot of stress and difficulty. He should just barely live through this particular battle. But we also want to kind of give testament to his toughness too, so that's going to be part of this as well. Alright, anyways, please like, follow, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more comic book inking and drawing. I will be literally doing this for a while. And after this, we're going to go back and work on some of our webcomics. And I don't know. Looking forward to sticking around for a good long while. Talk to you later. Bye now.